begin? This week I've spent quite a bit of time thinking about happiness and that pursuit of happiness. Even our forefathers talked about the pursuit of happiness. Now, we've heard all along that we have the right to pursue happiness, but that doesn't guarantee happiness. And that pursuit doesn't guarantee happiness. However, happiness is a choice. That's it. It's a choice. We can choose to be happy, or we can choose to continue that long pursuit. The pursuit, though, gets us nowhere. As long as we think of happiness as being out there somewhere, the pursuit leads only to unhappiness, frustration, depression. Look at the epidemic of depression that we have these days. That proves that that pursuit is not practical. It serves very little purpose. Okay? I'm not going to say it serves no purpose, because you can learn from that. But it's just not necessary. We learn at a very young age that happiness equals being entertained. We're experiencing this with our granddaughter. She constantly has a movie going, or a new puppy to play with, or toys going on, or Papa to play with. She's always got to be entertained. We probably went through something very similar. We looked outside of ourselves for that happiness. We looked outside of ourselves to be entertained, and most of the time we were looking to other people. Back to the granddaughter again, she is looking to other people to make sure she's got that movie, to make sure she's got that puppy, to make sure she's got the toys to play with. And most of the time she wants somebody to play with her and her toys and her puppy. And we have fun doing that. But in doing that, I'm not teaching her how to be happy for herself. I'm not teaching her that she can find happiness by choosing happiness. I am actually reinforcing her belief that she's got to have that movie, that she's got to have that Barbie doll, that she's got to have that puppy. Now, at some point along the way, I'm going to get busy, and I'm not going to be there. And then if her mom is busy and not there, and her dad is busy and not there, and grandma's busy and not there, she's going to realize that she cannot depend on someone else to make her happy, to keep her entertained. So she's got to look elsewhere. If she continues this path, if we all continue this path, we teach ourselves that, okay, we can't depend on people to make us happy, so we can watch the TV and see the commercials, and we can go buy this car. That's going to make us happy. We can go buy this house. That's going to make us happy. We can go do this and this and this and this. And we look outside. We look at things. We look at other people, relationships. We look at power. We look at the status. All of these things supposedly make us happy. If that was true, why do we see 3 or 4 commercials for antidepressants in one 1-hour show? Because antidepressants are needed. Because that epidemic is growing and growing and growing at an alarming rate. And over here we've got happiness, which is not really growing all the time. The reason for that is we were never taught how to be happy. I never had a class. You know, in kindergarten they didn't say, okay, here's the 1 hour that we're going to spend teaching you how to be happy. We weren't taught it. We've been through some horrible times in this world, this life, wars, depressions, the downturn of the economy in '08. We get tuned into that stuff, and we let that take happiness away from us. Happiness is a choice, no matter what's going on around you. Now, psychology teaches us this beautiful little pyramid here, which is Maslow's hierarchy. And it starts out, the bottom is the physiological. It talks about you've got to have breathing, you've got to have food, you've got to have water, sleep. And it has that list of things that you've got to have as your foundation before you can move to the next level. The next level is safety, security of your body, security of employment, security of the resources and morality, security for your family, your health, your property. They say that once you get there, you can move to the next level. The next level brings in friendship, family, your relationships, your intimate relationships. Once you get there, you can move to the next one, which is esteem, and it talks about self-esteem and confidence and achievement and respect for others, respect for yourself. And then it gets to the top, which is self-actualization, which is morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem-solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance, and facts. Doesn't say anything about happy. Nothing. I think Maslow missed the boat. When you look at documentaries from around the world, or if you've been fortunate enough to be able to travel around the world, there are people, other than the breathing and the food, and even some people without the food, are able to find happiness. It tells me that happiness is at the very least in that physiological area, or maybe even below that. We can find happiness and gratitude and appreciation for right where we are, no matter what our circumstances. So, how do you really find happiness? This is going to be your 15-minute class on how to be happy. So you'll never again be able to say that you weren't taught how to be happy. I said happiness is a choice. There are some things that drive that, some things that you can do to create an atmosphere of happiness around you, or within you, I should say, not around you, but within you, which makes that choice easier. Okay? You can choose right now, without doing any of these things we're going to talk about, you can choose to be happy and do it. The one phrase that I hate more than any, and one of the reasons I hate it is because it actually is true, is fake it till you make it. You know, if you start acting like you're happy, you'll start believing that you're happy. When you start believing that you're happy, you are happy. It really does work. And that's how affirmations work. But happiness is, now I've got some notes here I'm going to read so that I don't leave anything out. Happiness happens right where you are, right when you are, no matter what you're experiencing. You get to choose it. The first step is to define it for yourself. Define happiness. My definition is going to be different than Madeline's. It's going to be different than Luana's. It's going to be different than Kathy's and Jill's and Zelma's and Gloria's and Billy's. We all will have different definitions of happiness. So number one, define happiness for you. Don't go to Webster. Don't come compare to me. Do not compare to each other. Because in comparison, we find lack and fault with us. If I compare to Kathy, I'm going to find lack in me. Okay? No comparison allowed. Define it for yourself. Once defined, decide how you're going to multiply that. Decide how you're going to find more of that. What things can you do that bring that feeling to you? What thoughts can you have that recreate that feeling? Okay? And then how can you make that keep going? How can you maintain it? There's no right or wrong answers. Here's the trick. If it works, do it. If it doesn't work, don't do it. Okay? And I can tell you that one thing that probably won't work is telling other people how you do it for yourself, because they're going to say, "Oh no, there's no way that works. That won't work for me." You got to be crazy. That's not going to happen. Okay? So, sharing it with others probably won't work very much until you get very solid in your belief and very solid in your feeling of happiness. The level of inner fulfillment that you have also helps determine your happiness. Okay? Your inner fulfillment comes from accomplishments that you've had. And it doesn't mean that you have to go out here and change the world. It simply means that you set a goal for yourself, you had an intention, you had a vision for what you wanted to create within your own life, and you went out and did it. Okay? So if you do not have anything going in your life right now that leads you to that kind of accomplishment, do something. It doesn't have to be huge. But do something that allows you to say, "I did it." What that does is it fills the space in your heart with your own accomplishments, your own well-being. And from that, you get to tie that into, this is my connection with the divine. Because when you set those goals, when you set those accomplishments, there are millions of things in this world that can happen to stop you. But there's a divine connection that can move those things out of the way, that can help you have the strength to move through them or over them. Your connection with God gets you there. Even if you think it's little, your connection with God gets you there. And we've got some people in here that see angels that help you get there. Okay? Know that. Once you start having that inner fulfillment feeling happening within you, you begin to feel more whole, more complete. The more the accomplishment you have, the more whole, the more complete you feel. It's kind of weird to say, "I'm whole, yet I'm going to be more whole." That's what happens in that connection that we talked about, I believe it was last week. When you're truly one with God, when you're truly living with the Christ mind, you become more whole. Your accomplishments become greater. You can take on more. You grow. You become more complete. You keep going. Happiness is found in when those persons accomplish that, because the more you do accomplish, the less space there is to fill. We try to fill that space too often with the things, with the people, with the status, with the power. Those things we talked about earlier. We truly try to fill our space with that. But when we look inside, when we look at our accomplishments, when we feel that true, authentic connection with God, when we live from the Christ mind, there are no holes. No holes to fill. It is all pure love, pure kindness, pure happiness. That's it. It's simple. You choose to do what makes you happy. You choose to feel what makes you happy. Happiness is within you. It's not some far-off pursuit. Now, I will tell you, when you choose to look at happiness this way, you're going to be in a smaller group. You know, there's not a whole lot of people who look at happiness from this place. Most people are on that lifelong journey to happiness, that lifelong pursuit for what's going to make them happy. That's what Jesus was talking about when he talked about the way of many is wide, but the way of one is very narrow. That gate is very narrow. That's what he's talking about. The way you choose to live, the way you choose to believe, is going to make us in a smaller group, but it's a powerful group. And the more we do it, the more those people on that highway to the pursuit of happiness will start going, oh, hold on a minute, maybe they're onto something here. We can share it in that way. The New Thought movement that all of us have been on has done one thing that I think limits us. And I think this is why finding happiness has eluded me even for a very long time. And most of us, the New Thought movement compares looking within to finding peace. Okay? That's true. But that is a very limited view of what looking within does. If you get nothing else out of today, I want you to get this. Looking within, go beyond peace and find awareness. In that awareness is where you're going to find that, yes, I can have happiness. Yes, I can have my power. Yes, I can have my strength. I am one with God. So go beyond that initial surface level, look for peace, which is a very powerful thing, and look for the awareness, because in the awareness, you truly know that you're happy by simply deciding to be happy. So before we wrap up, what is something that you can commit to doing this week that will help you feel happy? Know what that is. Commit to yourself to step out and do it. Now I know you guys are going on a trip. There's going to be happiness there. I'm talking about internally. What can you do by going inside? What can you choose by going inside? What can you feel by going inside that's going to be happy? Okay? Thank you so much. Choose to be happy this week. See how it works. And if it works, continue next week. Okay?